Today, we are sharing a cup of blueberry tea with someone whose office stretches from coral reefs to open ocean and whose work is helping protect some of the world's most misunderstood animals. Adriana Gonzalez Pestana is a Peruvian marine biologist whose passion for sharks and rays has taken her across continents. After completing her master's in fisheries biology at James Cook University, she's now undertaking her PhD at Charles Darwin University, contributing to an international conservation initiative identifying important shark and ray areas across Asia, including right here in Timor-Leste. It's work that combines science, exploration, and collaboration. But beneath the research is a much more personal story. What inspires someone to dedicate their life to creatures that most people fear? How do you stay hopeful when conservation can feel like an uphill battle? And what can a single diver's observation tell us about protecting an entire ecosystem? In this episode, we dive beneath the surface, not only into the fascinating world of sharks and rays, but into Adriana's own journey from Peru to Australia, the lessons she's learnt from the ocean, and why she believes every one of us has a role to play in protecting it. So, grab your favourite cup of tea, settle in, and join me for a conversation with Adriana. Adriana, thank you for joining me here in Dili, Timor-Leste. So you are normally based in Darwin, right? So what is it that brings you to Timor-Leste and what are you hoping to get out of it?
Thank you very much for the invitation. I arrived to Timor-Leste 2024 on August, and it was something that it was completely unexpected out of my plans. So I moved on March 2024 to Australia. I was living in Peru, where I'm from. It's because I was starting my PhD on sharks and rays, and I didn't know exactly what was the subject about. I was still thinking about it. And then a close friend that he's like a global renowned researcher for sharks and rays, he was someone from Timor, from World Fish, was sending him photos of sharks and rays. And he told me, like, this is a very interesting place. You should go and check it out because there's nothing known. And I was like, where's Timor-Leste? Actually, I have no idea that Timor-Leste was even on the map. I was that ignorant. I think in my side it was very far away from South America. So I started looking about information, and the more I look, the more interesting a place it seems. I'm very attracted to places where there is a lack of research, there's a huge need for understanding, and Timor-Leste kind of fit all that criteria that I like to be out of the track. And explore places, and Timor looked like a very interesting place. So we came with him on August, and we traveled around the island in 4 days, very hectic. We crossed to the other side. I was impressed because I didn't have any expectations, but seeing such a huge mountains was out of my radar, and it was such a different world from Australia, from Darwin, although it's only 1 hour in airplane, and you just land there. It's like, oh my God, where am I? But it was fantastic, and I have like just a little bit of what Timor was about. And I came back and I say, yes, I want to do one of my chapters in Timor-Leste because there's a huge need. And it's just, I have always worked most of the time in the Eastern Pacific in Peru. So it's a different ecosystem. And here it's such a privilege to be in one of the most diverse places in the world. And I have always been working on the other side of the Pacific, where you have a lot of abundance but low diversity. So I felt like a huge opportunity. I always wanted to work, but I couldn't see myself how. And now I can feel like there was this opportunity, and also no one was doing anything. So I like to work in spaces where there's a urgent need, but no one is doing anything. Instead of working in places where everything is known and it's just doing one more thing that everyone kind of understands about it. So yeah, that's how Timor started, and it has been 3 years now, and I'm very happy with what I have been doing, what I've been achieved, and especially the community, it's amazing. No, but yeah, I will leave it.
Well, you talk about how amazing it is here in Timor-Leste, but also Peru has one of the world's richest marine ecosystems. So what does the ocean mean to Peruvians?
That's a very important question, at least I think for myself, because Peru, it's not much diversity, it's more abundance. We have one of the highest abundance in anchovies. The largest fishery in the world is located in Peru because we have this huge upwelling, very unique around the world, that has this huge biomass. So it's very productive ocean in that sense. And I was born and raised in Lima, the capital, that is a desert city. So when I look into the mountains, the desert is beautiful, and I am a desert woman, but there's not that much life, When I go into the ocean, you see all this amazing life, the seabirds, the sea lions, like this crazy amount I've never seen anywhere in the world. And I remember the winters in Lima are terrible, at least for me. It's very overcast for 6 months. You don't see the sun. It's very gray, very foggy. And the summers are very beautiful, very sunny. So every summer, my parents used to rent a beach house, and we just moved to the beach house. And it's just like I came awakened. Like I was a zombie in the winter time, going to school, very strict school of nuns as well. And the summer was this freedom, nature, very safe town we were as well, so I can explore. And I think in those years, I fall in love with the ocean. It was a space where I can safely and by myself with my friends explore and get very connected and have this sense of freedom, of eternity, immensity of the ocean. And that's where it was my playground and where I felt safe and a sense of adventure, So that was what basically the ocean meant to me at that time. And since I started growing up, I wanted to study something related to that nature because I love just being on nature, So it was a beautiful experience. And I think also nature has always represented like this sense of it's this habitat where I can feel this refuge, where I can be completely myself, and it was perfectly okay, and I could be natural in that sense. Well, when I was in society, I felt like I need to fix a role model. I need to pretend sometimes something I was not. Well, in nature, I feel this freedom of just being myself. So it was like a refuge. So it was a very strong, and I wanted to be as much as I could in nature, and that's why I decided to study marine biology. Mm-hmm.
I have podcasted previously with a young man, Dili Kayaka, if you haven't come across him, and he has founded Underwater Cinema. I think he had a similar childhood to you. He was a man of the mountains in Balibo, and then when he first came to Dili and dived in the water, he was just amazed at the colour and the space and everything that he could see underwater, and he wanted to share that with others as well. So he feels the same way about the ocean as you. In Peru, is there a strong conservation culture for the marine biology in the oceans?
It's growing greatly lately, and I think has changed a lot. When I finished school, there actually was no career of marine biology available. So I first studied the forests, and I was almost going to go to Costa Rica to study marine biology, and then they opened the first promotion. So I belong to the first promotion of marine biologists, and I got graduated in 2013. So since then, on the last 10-20 years has changed a lot. So now there's more conservation, and people, not all, but there's still, it's growing people who are understanding that the ocean is more than a resource. It's also an ecosystem that we need to protect. So yeah, it's growing, which is great.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, everyone has a crossroads. Would you think that was the moment where you could have moved to Costa Rica and explore this, but you were able to stay in Peru? Do you think there was a bit of a sliding door moment which has led you to where you are now?
I think I'm grateful that I didn't went to Costa Rica, but I never know what happened if I went, because I stay in Peru and develop a very strong sense of trying to work for my country, and I'm still doing projects over there. But I think if I have to choose a moment in time when I started working, especially with sharks, which is the subject I've been working on the last 15 years, it's that when I went to the Galapagos Islands, I applied for an internship for the whole summer to work for the marine protected area, And by then I didn't know that much about sharks, just the average person. Sharks are scary animals, they have teeth, they can bite you, and that's it. And I went there, and since the first day one, I saw sharks all the time. And remember the first time we were with a friend on this beautiful lagoon, and a friend told me, "Don't move, there's a shark." And I was like, "Oh, a shark, like it's going to hurt me, that's why you're telling me not to move in it?" And then I just started breathing, and there was this beautiful shark resting on the bottom. And it felt like inoffensive, just doing her stuff, or his stuff, just sleeping. And after that, I saw so many sharks, and I started with this sense of ignorance and fear that transformed very quickly, because that's the power of being underwater, and having this connection with nature, with this admiration and respect about them. I was so attracted that every time I saw a shark, I just was swimming as fast as I could towards them, and then I understood that slow down, because the shark can sense you will go away. Actually, they were more afraid of me than the other way around. So I think that experience was amazing, because it wasn't that long if you think about it, how much time I've spent underwater with them at that time. But that changed completely my perceptions. It's like I fall in love with sharks at first sight. Yeah. And when I came back, I was, okay, now I know one. Because I wanted to do everything. Marine biology, every subject was interesting. So it was hard to pick. But after I say, okay, why sharks? Because they are endangered. More I read, it's like they have a huge need to invest your energy for conservation and research. So yeah, I think that was a tipping point for me.
That actually takes me back to Ningaloo Reef in Western Australia. I went with a friend there, and it was an amazing experience. We were put in a boat, and then we were told which direction these particular whale sharks were taking. And then we would get to run a little bit ahead and then wait for them to come past us. And that was just incredible to see. And also there was a little bit of diving I did afterwards. And I remember seeing a grey shark, and it was lying on the bottom of the ocean as well. And it was just a bit of a fascination, just waiting and watching what's it going to do next. But why do you think sharks have such a bad reputation? Is it because of films or is it from all the experiences that we do have? Yes, of course. But if sharks could redesign their public image, what would they want us to know?
Oh, that's a very nice, beautiful question. I think they are predators, and they have the capacity to kill ourselves. And I think every animal in animal kingdom who has that power is always attracted as this freedom, and we want to try to eliminate them. But at the end, if you put that in numbers, there's more probability that you die of a coconut falling on your head, than a shark attacking you. So it's almost so small, the probability of getting attacked by a shark. But when they do, they get all the news. And they're everywhere, because the media is very attracted to all these negative news that are very savage, very bloody. So they get a lot of attention. I think it's our instinct of fear. Because we are programmed to survive, not to enjoy life, the other way around. So I think that's one of the reasons. But I think it's changing. I think most places, for example, in Australia, fear is being replaced, not all the time, but many places, for admiration and curiosity. So people are more and more curious about sharks. And I think we just need to understand them on a level that we can manage those risks. Because there's going to be risks. We need to accept that every time you enter to a ocean or to a jungle or natural place, there are predators, and it's their place, not ours. So we need to respect that and try to find ways that it will be less risky, So yeah, I think how sharks would like to be seen, I think they are very important to the oceans, They are one of the most important predators along history, evolutionary history. You look through time, and they have been here before dinosaurs, before some stars, before trees. So they are so old, and they have basically transformed life on Earth. So, and right now we are killing them in such a great amount that some species are very endangered. So we need to see them as these and haste them, and treat them as the beautiful predators and powerful that they are for the ocean. Mm-hmm.
Do each of the different types of sharks, the different species, do they have different characteristics about them? And if that is the case, Which shark species would best reflect your personality?
I was not expecting that question. So there are around 500 species of sharks worldwide. It's a huge number, and the diversity is incredible. So you have tiny sharks that can measure like 50 centimeters, and they live on the deep waters, and they can produce bioluminescence. You have the whale shark that is like kind of it's plankton, and it can measure up to 15, 20 meters. They have even the largest one. And they have different habitats, different behaviors, different shapes, different colors. So when you talk about sharks, people think great white. But there's this huge diversity that we need as well to understand to protect them. Which animal? Well, I think I have changed my favorite shark through time, so it's a very hard question, but I think the one who still the most important is the first shark that I fall in love, and that's the hammerhead shark that I saw in Galapagos in the schooling behaviors. And I love them because they are such unique, weirdos with their heads, and they have these superpowers as well, because their heads it's incredible to navigate around the ocean, to maneuver, and it has like 5-6 different superpowers. So yeah, I think hammerheads are the one, because I always felt like a weirdo. If I have to say, I have accepted that when I was very young, I felt like, oh, I'm a weirdo, I have to hide. But now it's just I love being weird, and I'm happy to share it with everyone. So yeah, I'll say that one. Yeah, I've embraced it.
Well, I hope they reported this too, but I was out at Orturo with Milan, Dive Timor-Leste, and I believe a hammerhead was seen, and he went wild for it. Wild, wild, wild. It was the biggest thing. I missed it. I wasn't quick enough.
You were in the water with him?
Yeah, missed it.
You can sense it?
We'll go with that. I sensed their excitement. But yes, another question. What are the fish that accompany sharks on their journeys? The fish that you see on the tails of the sharks, what are they up to?
Well, there's remoras are a big companions of the shark. So the remoras are the one who suck. They have this capacity on their bottom, on top, to get attached to sharks, so they can travel with them around. But recently I learned about other species. I think it was, I don't remember that name, but it's a yellow fish, black stripes, that it's in groups surrounding the whale sharks. So they travel with them, and they actually function as a nursery ground for these little fish, for the whale sharks. So you see amazing symbiosis they have with these species. Mm-hmm. Yes.
What is the hardest thing you have witnessed in the ocean?
I think the hardest experience I have had is when I was working back in Peru with a fisherman, and I was dying to go and fishing with them. It took me like 2 years to finally do it, because of course it's all men. There's no woman on the boat. And finally I got with a good NGO that was having good relationship with a fisherman, so they let me in. And we spent 2 weeks up in the ocean. It's artisanal boat, but it's quite large boat as well. So we went even to international waters, and it was this kind of little boat, me and 5 men. There was no bathroom, no internet, no cell phone, no signal. And I remember the first day we traveled just perpendicular from the coast, so as far as we can get. When I wake up, the island that for me was the most offshore was like very far away, and we were all the way getting more offshore. So I was like, oh my God, we're getting in the middle of the ocean. So I never get dizzy. I start getting dizzy because psychological. I was like, oh, where are you? Like at that moment, it kicked me where I was putting myself in, but I was already far away from the coast. So I started throwing up until I couldn't have any Dilis on my stomach, throwing up. And the fishermen were like, what are we going to do with her? Coming back, it's a lot of money for us. And I just told Adriana, you put yourself in this situation, so you just better get out. And after that, the trip changed completely. And I could have the chance to live with a fisherman and experience what was their world. But it was very hard because every night they throw these very long gill nets, like 3 kilometers long, and they left there 12 hours, and the next morning they pick it up, and you see all these beautiful animals. Remember that trip we saw a lot of treasure sharks, and they were mostly pregnant. So it was very sad to see all these animals coming out, and I couldn't say anything because I was there observing and taking information, and I always trying to observe fishermen, don't judge them and tell them what to do because it's their livelihood, And I come from a privileged situation when I can go to school, I can go to to university, and I have different perspectives of life. So that trip was very intense, seeing all those animals being there that I love so much. But I also get very close to the fishermen. We became very, very friends. And I remember the last day we threw the nets and they didn't catch anything. So it was a very bad trip for them. The last thing they caught was a big movula, and they just hit them on the head. And I was just like, I'm done. I just need to get out. I feel so bad. By the time we get to the port, the fishermen barely make any money. So it was hard work, 2 weeks far away from their family. And I was like, this is not working. We need to find better solutions for them and their families and for the sharks. So working in conservation, it's very hard because you need to think about the people, need to solve their poverty issues, and then you can help sharks, So it's very complex. But I think the more complex the idea, the more the purpose that I think one has. Makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, even you must have done thousands of hours of diving, right?
I always would like to make more, but
yeah. Yes. So is it just second nature for you? And how long does a tank last you? And well, I ask this just because I have been doing a lot of diving here and I would like to get better. But one of the hardest things for me is when we are doing the rest period, the waiting period before we exit, and I just keep rising. And I'm like, I'm chill, I'm calm. They keep telling me to calm down, I'm calm, but I keep rising.
The surface? Are you safe?
No, I have to kick to stay down kind of thing to make sure that I stay at the appropriate level.
Okay. Well, yes, water is second nature. I feel more myself in water, I think so, when I'm in land. Because it's not only diving, I think everything, like free diving, snorkeling, everything that you are submerged in water. One time I was also doing like surfing. But I think we love water because it's just when we were on our mom's belly, and we are 70-80% made of water. So water, I think, is our natural state. We all come from water, evolutionary. The first life was in the water. And you just lose this gravity, You're just floating or you're just kind of flying. So it's such a beautiful place. And hopefully there's no phones, that you can take down. So you are connecting and living the present so intensely. So it's amazing, One of my most extreme dives was in Antarctica. I went 2019 with the Peruvian expeditions, and our mission was to dive. And always, when I see an idea amazing, I don't think about it. I say yes, and then I think what I have done when I'm actually doing it. So I have like 2 panic attacks in my life. One was with a fisherman when I started throwing up. And my second panic attack was when I was my first diving in Antarctica. I thought I was going to get frozen, the leopard shark was going to kill me. I have all these ideas, and it took me quite a while to get in the water and actually dive. And when I did, all these fears just disappear. And I remember it was one of the most beautiful experience I've had. I thought that if I die, I will die happy. And I could, I just let it go, and I was just totally immersed in the moment, and whatever happens, it was amazing. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, because the water is so frozen, it looks like time stopped. And you could see the animals, they were all moving so slowly. So I think that sense of slowing down, that we are always on a rush. Mm-hmm. So I felt, and it was so beautiful, like amazing. So yeah, that was an amazing dive, and I would love to come back someday with a different attitude. But yeah. No, it's like when you have this fear, and you don't want to go beyond that fear because you want to stay in your comfort zone. But once you grow from that, it's like there's no limits because you have conquered spaces within yourself that you thought were unreachable. So you grow much more confidence and you expand yourself, no, in different ways. It's just all exploration within yourself, because at the end it was my own fears that I was battling, but it was amazing. So yeah.
That's incredible. Antarctica. That I understand the idea of getting so cold as well. It's funny because here in Timor-Leste, the waters are so warm, right? So warm. But I always make sure that I go out with a long wetsuit on because I run cold. But that was also part of your research, are the rays. If we can talk about the rays, because that takes me also back to Ningaloo. We saw the huge, huge rays down there as well.
Species round rays or more like wet fish, guitar fish?
The really big ones? Manta? Yeah, the manta rays, yes. And so how are they involved in your research as well as the sharks?
Yeah, so I started with sharks, with the hammerheads, and I started working with sharks, and then I say, what's about with the rays? And the rays are actually similar as sharks. Many are threatened, and we are not giving them as much attention as we do for the sharks because they're not that charismatic. So I've started working with them back in Peru, and now it's part of my research as well to understand the situation of the rays. And it's, I think they are threatened. There's less research and there's less attention. So I'm always trying to focus my energy in species that are less representative. I have worked a lot with guitar fish, wet fishes, guitar fishes back in Peru. And it's a group, for example, that in Peru the fishery has reduced 98%. So imagine 2% it's kind of left, if you know. So yeah, there's a lot of, and the rays are most species are very coastal, so they're more exposed to fisheries, and they're more range restricted, which means if they're devastated here, they don't have any other place to go. For example, climate change, it's a huge effect on the rays. So yeah, the rays are very important in my research, and it's one of the important components with sharks.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I am a recreational diver, and imagine I go diving this weekend and I spot a shark or a ray tomorrow. Why does that one observation matter towards your research?
Citizen science? Yes. Well, yes. I have moved from a place where I've been working a lot with fisheries, which is important, but I wanted to work on more positive sides. And citizen science, it's amazing because anyone can contribute to conservation in whatever they're doing. If they are going into the ocean, they can provide information. And imagine the scale. It's one report, but imagine how many people in the world are using the oceans every single day using different platforms, no? I'm actually doing a review of citizen science for sharks and rays, and I have discovered that there's even people who are building their own, well, few cases, but there's cases, their own submarines. Also, there are citizen science who are using great technology, and these days we have drones, we have underwater cameras. I think soon drones will become underwater on a place that we can achieve. Yeah. So imagine the power that everyone has. And it's not only providing information to scientists, it's engaging with the process and becoming more empowered, to protect the sharks that are on your beach, So I think that's the most important about. It's sparkling that curiosity that could eventually lead you to protecting and being more engaged in the conservation aspect of it.
I like that. That's getting us more involved ourselves and inspiring our own interests, not just towards your research as well. That's amazing. Have there been any citizen science reports that has surprised your work?
Yes, there are a lot of reports because people spend a lot of time in the water. So they have the capacity to provide a lot of information. But any specific, I think that's the one I was telling you, but this is like more a review, and I actually got to interview this man in Honduras who built his own submarine, and he has like 11,000 visits down to the ocean, and he has actually identified a critical habitat for the rough skin shark. Is one of the most cutest sharks. It's deep water species. Is very rarely known, and he has been able to find this place where the shark loves to be. So imagine the potentiality that no people has in discovering even new species, maybe critical habitats or amazing interactions that are going on between people and shark. So I think the potential is just, I cannot even imagine it. So it's great, and more people are getting interested, and they go from this space of fear, to curiosity, love, and protection. That is the ultimate thing that we need as a society, as a humanity, to protect sharks. So yeah.
And what would that actually look like? How do we know that we are protecting them? Does that mean that we see them more, which is that will actually make people a little bit more scared to be swimming in the oceans? Or how will you actually be able to measure protecting the sharks and rays?
From shark side, are you saying, on the interaction between the risk involved?
I guess it's both. Because how will your work actually contribute to protecting them?
So my work here in Timor, are you saying, it's based on trying to build a baseline for sharks and rays, because there's no information. If you look into the literature, you will find one report here, but very isolated cases, nothing together. So what I'm trying to do is build a baseline. That is the first step when you want to protect something, What species are there, why they're using these spaces, and also try to understand what are the values and uses that the community has. So you have, I think, two big groups: the recreational users that usually enjoy sharks and rays, and then you have the fishery communities. That is the one I think you need to work most, because they are interacting with sharks and they are catching sharks incidentally, but they're also using them for feeding or selling, because it's a valuable resource. Imagine they're catching small fish and they get a big shark, they get a lot of food. I know some places in the north where one big shark represents a month of a family income. So you need to start understanding people's views, to try to help them work together in ways that it will be more sustainable, so they can have sharks and rays on the long term.
Well then, as a continuation of that, so if everyone listening could do one thing this week to help protect our oceans, what would you ask them to do?
I think in my case and everywhere, and every single human being, I think it's spending time in nature, especially children. I think that changes everything. There's a lot of research going on, and it makes so much sense. If you as a human being, when between the ages of 5 and 12, spend regularly, positively time in nature, you will become a person who is going to protect nature. Even if you become a lawyer, an engineer, whatever you choose to be, you will be someone who is advocating for the ocean. So I think it's just that, spending time in nature and getting in love, because it's a place that it's so easily to feel attracted and feel this beautiful connection. I think spirituality comes from spending time in nature and coming back to ourselves, to our basics, to our essence. So I think that's the thing I will just spend more time in nature and give your children the space to do that as well.
Well, that's beautiful. I will wrap us up there, but thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to exploring more of the oceans in Timor-Leste and hope to see more sharks and rays to share my observations with you.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed the interview, and please stay in touch for the outcomes of the research that I'm very happy to soon share with everyone.
A huge thank you to Adriana for joining me on 68 Cups of Blueberry Tea, and for reminding us that conservation isn't just about protecting wildlife. It's about understanding our place within the natural world. One of the things I loved most about this conversation is that it challenged some of the stories we've all grown up with. Sharks and rays aren't simply creatures to fear. They are vital parts of healthy oceans. And the more we learn about them, the more we realize just how connected we are to the future. If you are lucky enough to spend time in or around the waters of Timor-Leste, or anywhere else in the world, you can be part of that story too. Adriana's work highlights how citizen science can make a very real difference, with every shark or ray sighting helping researchers build a clearer picture of those remarkable animals and the habitats they depend on. If you enjoyed today's conversation, I'd love it if you shared this episode with someone who loves the ocean, travel, science, or simply hearing extraordinary stories from every ordinary people doing remarkable things. Until next time, keep the kettle warm, stay curious, and remember that sometimes the most meaningful conversations begin over a simple cup of tea. Bye for now.